Hey, it's Bucket Somewhere on Lights. It's me, Sucking Come to video. In this video, I am turning the 7 Deadly Sins into Golems, very similar to what I did when I turned them into dragons. Well, I hope you'll enjoy. Roll intro, and let's get into this video. Let's go. Like and subscribe if you enjoy this video. Okay, I'm back with more golems. I thought about going over some other creatures, but hey caramba, the overseer was supposed to go over some combinations of elemental golems he's made, like elementals and golems mixed together, but he reset. Yeah, I still don't have enough time to get all these files together. Overseers, like people, they just have extended lifespans and the ability to create creatures. They forget things too. So he wants me to go over these 7 creatures. He deems the 7 deadly sin golems races-wise. The first one is actually the Wrath one. This one is eerily similar to the Wrath Sin Dragon of the fact that it has the name Wrath and Sin in its name, but it's known as the Wrath Golem for short. It's riddled with some type of spike-like rocks on its body. It has horns, 3 on the upper shoulder, 3 on the upper arm, 3 giant claw fingers on each arm, and then 6 and 3 to 6 spikes on the lower arms, 3 on each side, and then on the legs. Upper legs are quite short, so they only have 2 smaller spikes. But other than that, they have some relatively smaller spikes. Well, the lower legs are bigger, and they have 6 spikes on the leg total, and 3 on each side, and actually 3 relatively small toes. That's all I got for them. Okay, I just wanted to say that this one was actually quite easy to make, because I was basing it off of the Wrath Sin Dragon I made a few months ago. Sorry about the thing, it's actually quite short, but in reality this guy is actually quite tall. This one only took me 16 minutes to draw, and I really like the outcome. I just wish I actually used a different color for the actual body. I was hoping I could use a red, but since it's a rock, I know of some rocks that are red, but they aren't really the red color I want. I want like a dark red crimson one. Other than that, this was actually one of my favorites, but not my main favorite out of all of them. Let's get to the next one. Okay, this next one we're looking at has a very big torso. And when I say big, I mean it's the size of a large boulder big. It has very small but very strong legs and some relatively big arms. This is the Sloth Sin Golem, or Sloth Golem. It gets its name because it's actually quite lazy. And when you push it down, which I'll be surprised if you can, because these things actually, since they're so heavy and so top heavy, they actually weigh around 6 tons, which is really heavy. Remember correctly, 2,000 pounds, if I remember correctly. So, give or take, they're really heavy creatures. They would flatten you like a pancake if they land on top of you. And they're like tortoises. If you push them down, or on their back or the gut, they can't get up. Their main ability for them, wise, is actually to fall down to jump off a giant cliff and then pretty much dive head first or gut first onto some ground, and then cause a giant shockwave and a little tremor that can knock anyone down. The reason why it's unharmed is because of the fact that it's basically a Snorlax, and these things can pack a serious punch. Trust me, I was wearing some of my best armor when I was having to hunt one of these things, because it was actually one of the more active ones, and it was causing some serious damage to a nearby settlement. When I say serious, I mean like they were experiencing some of these tremors caused by this creature for like 5 times a day in the asses, and each one, including aftershocks, lasted around 2 hours total each time. So you can only imagine how bad their sleep was. The thing punched me straight in the gut. I nearly got rib broken. And I was wearing armor that could withstand the actual attack force of a nuke. Not the explosion. I can survive that myself with my best armor. It acts like it's nothing, but holy cow, that thing was hard to kill. I aimed straight for that eye. Okay, this one, like I already stated for the last one, is actually bigger than I actually drew it. Sorry about that. And this was the second one I drew. The Wrath one was actually the first. This again is actually one of my favorites. I really like these designs because they're golems, and I'm really fond of golems because they're so simple but yet so cool to make. Let's get to the next one. Okay, this next creature is another golem. It is known as the Gluttony Sin Crystal Golem, or Gluttony Crystal. This creature is your standard crystal golem, except besides the crystals on its torso that keeps the upper body hovering above the lower body, it has some crystals on its head, crystals on its upper arms, a crystal protrusion from like a little back arm blade on the lower arms, and its 3 fingers are actually crystals as well. Its 3 toes on its feet each are actually a crystal too. And then up on a little bit higher, midway on the lower leg, is another crystal in each leg. Not to mention, a little bit up and pointed diagonally away from it is actually 2 more crystals on the upper torso. 1 on each side of it. And all of these can create little portals that actually convert whatever it's thrown into its magic form, and it can be used as energy to make this thing a lot stronger. But its main attack is to actually transfer all the magic it can, well, a good chunk of it anyways, because if it used all of it, it would die, causing a giant explosion. It would send most of it to the stomach to open up a giant portal to absorb big attacks. It would actually dim the eye a little because it's weakening because of the energy it's used. But like all magical creatures, it replenishes itself in a few hours. It's a really strong creature. Height-wise, stands up around 6 feet tall, and sometimes mistaken for a rare crystal elemental. And it weighs around only 2 tons. Quite light compared to the last one we looked at. Let's get to the next one. Sorry about that. When I say get to the next one, I mean let's get to the next one. And after I get done with this last part of this file, I accidentally made this, and by pressing the stop recording button, not the pause button. Design-wise, I really like this character. Nothing really down I really don't like about it, other than the fact that I wish I could have thrown in a few parts and a few things being absorbed into it. But the thing, I didn't really feel like it. And yeah, I know a lot of these look like they have the same background, when in reality they are quite similar. This one took me up around 19 minutes, and the last one, the Sloth Golem, took me around 9. Relatively simple, but yeah, a little time consuming. I just want to say that I hope you all enjoying this video, and that I do plan on making more of the dragon fusions. Next video I hope is actually me combining the MHA elementals, dragons, and golems into one, but it might be an elemental golems video. Now, let's get back into this video. Let's go. Okay, this next one we're looking at is actually quite small. Maybe a foot taller than the midget golem. This is the Evcen crystal golem, or NV crystals. This creature stands up around 4 feet tall, and it has one crystal on either arm. These crystals have the ability to actually take anything at once. These creatures are known to be very envious of people, hence their name, Envious. The Envy Crystals. They are quite similar to the Envy Wyvern on that fact, and they are known as lesser golems because of the fact they're so small, but also because they're also, not just that, also known as lesser crystals, which is a name people use to say it's a small crystal golem that is actually quite weak. But in reality, these things are actually really strong. They can take down a platoon strong of around 100 very well-trained soldiers by themselves. Just two, that platoon is never going to be seen again. If there is, they're going to be really beaten up. Maybe lost like 20 or so. The one I had to hunt was actually closer to around 4'10", which is a little impressive. I think from that height, it was increased thanks to some magic from Master. Ay, caramba. It just about took my armor because it had that ability to. And that armor was actually some of my best armor because of the fact it was blast resistant to pretty much any attack you can think of. Nothing short of a domestic black dragon. Well, and a few other dragons. Like the Evcen, and a few others could damage that thing. But I managed to get in there and use my own brute strength. Punch it so hard, the eye just shattered itself. Now, that's all I got for this one. Okay, so, sorry about that. This character design was actually quite simple. Very much similar to the Sloth Golem, but I just tried to go in for a pose. This pose is always a little difficult because of the way the rocks are. And I'm just now realizing that the legs are a little wonky. But I can see it now that it's like it's stepping forward a little and the legs a little back. And due to it being a golem, and its waist is a rock, it being tilted up like that makes a little sense. So, yeah. Very interesting design. I wish I used another shade of green for this one. You'll see why in the next. Okay, this next one we're looking at is known as the Greed Crystal Golem. Greed Sin Crystal Golem, I mean. Or Greed Crystals. The reason why it's known as Greed Crystals is because it's sometimes actually, for skill of this, it's actually sometimes mistaken for the Gluttony Crystal. But it's green and actually smaller. Only around 5'7", if I remember correctly. Like its relative, the Gluttony Crystal, it has two crystals, and the upper torso hovers above the lower body. On the upper legs, upper part of the legs, right below the waist, are actually two crystals. It has a green eye, and it's sometimes mistaken for a mutated version of the Envy crystals, but it ain't. Its two arms at the ends are actually giant crystals, and it has two crystals on its back, one on each side of its head and one above each shoulder. Each arm, I mean. And that has the ability to make little green hands appear from pure magic that can solidify. And also branch off of each other and multiply. These are used to steal stuff, and these things, hordes, yeah, they have a horde, they're like a dragon. I'll give you a similarity in a minute. Their hordes actually have quite a few very valuable items. I'm talking diamonds, blood rubies, even a few black diamonds I want. So I was a pretty much man that day. But most of that went to my research of finding other creatures. Because, yeah, I'm a cataloger, but I also like to enjoy some research. This creature's feet are actually eerily similar to a dragon's, on the fact that it has 3 claws and a back claw, and it's actually, when it's climbing, using these hands, it actually uses these feet to actually keep hold onto some big pieces of treasure it has. Trust me, these things are actually relatively easy to beat. Just aim for the eye, and if you has carrying some treasure, aim for the treasure. It would rather sacrifice itself to save its treasure than that. Okay, character design wise, nothing really. It's just simple. The main thing I really like is the glow green hands I managed to make. The sketch at the beginning was a little difficult to come up with, but I made it work, and I really like it. And I hope y'all do too. Let's get to the next one. Okay, this next creature we're looking at is the Pride Sin Golem. These guys actually stand up around 7 feet tall, and sometimes are mistaken for an earth elemental. And thanks to that, they have gained a lot of pride in themselves, and they're actually quite strong. Maybe as strong, if not a little bit less than as strong as a elemental. These guys actually have some rock-like swords some rock-like swords on their arms, which are actually their lower arms. They're really sharp, and they are actually made of a very dense rock. I think it was bedrock. They also have 2 little black spikes coming off of it, just in case they have to backslash. And they actually have the same things on their legs, just in case they have to do like a little kneel or kick and aim right there. They extra damage. Their eye is actually black. It's sometimes mistaken for an empty socket, but these crystals, these pride golems, are actually usually the leaders of, well, for the record, there are on rare occasions some or multiple different types of these, but it's always at least each one of these golems is always following the pride golem. It is very prideful in its tactics, and it's a pretty smart creature, but it can be outsmarted. Some legends say that these creatures are once human, but they made a deal with a demon to live forever, and the demon, being a little mischievous, it decided to shove in a giant rock golem. And these people were originally full of pride in themselves, hence their name, the Pride Golem. And they were actually really smart battle tacticians, and that would make sense. Other than that, they are share similarities to the Pride Dragon because of the relatively small stature compared to it, but also the spikes on it. Doing some research, I actually found out these things actually biologically exactly the same as those creatures. So that led me to believe there may be distant relatives, or maybe there's a fusion or whatever creature out there that the Overseer cooked up that is a hybrid of these things. Can you imagine it? That's ugly. Character design, very simple, but really, really cool looking. I really like this design, but It's not really my personal favorite, but still a good design. Now let's get to the next one. Okay, the last golem we're looking at for today is a golem known as the Lust Crystal Golem, or Lust Crystal. They are some rock designs actually look like lingerie from a Lust Dragonette, which is quite weird, but it goes for the name. And very similar to the Lust Dragonette, it can actually emit a nauseous perfume or odor that causes anyone to smell it pass out. And, well, their name is actually Lust. Saying Crystal Golem, and Lust Crystal is their name, actually. Sorry about the mix-up. Sorry. The crystals are located on their back above each arm, and each lower arm are big, giant crystals. I actually managed to get one from one of these golems. It was it was made in captivity. By made, I mean like bred, but it's hard to describe how two golems have a child, okay? They mostly use magic and where to bring it. And I was actually helping take care of it while the parents were being a little tested, because sometimes they can turn evil when making a child. It's quite rare, but still, there's a few signs that it could happen. So I was looking after it, and as a thanks for that, they gave me a crystal from, it was relatively small, but yet very relatively powerful because it was from the eye, which is actually the main power source of the creature. Still, and I use it in my gauntlet to knock out anyone that gets in my way. I didn't really have to fight any of these because they are peaceful, but they mostly go after people in order to lure them away. They are sometimes used with pimps in order to lure more people toward them, in order for the pimps to use their women to get money, but I've shut down a few operations with those things. I used their own tactics against them. It was funny when that happened. One time I made a pimp smell the perfume, and the guy passed right on out. It was bloody hilarious to see his face, and funny enough, he actually looked like a piece of crap. Yeah, they crapped themselves when that happened. Character design wise, relatively simple, but it's okay. But I am a little nervous to draw something like lingerie. I just don't really like drawing it, even though it's for a character that it's part of the character. Now, that's all of them for today. Now, before you go, these took me, first one took me 16, second one took me 9 minutes, the third one, the Gluttony Crystal, took me 19, Envy took me 10, Greed took me 14, Pride took me 10, and this one took me 14 minutes long, so it didn't really take me long to make each of these. Now, roll outro. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Until next time, subscribe to Spike Stormy or Team Monster Alliance. Goodbye, and peace out.